Okay folks, thank you all for coming, and today what we're going to discuss I think is going to be very helpful for each and every one of us. But before we do, I want to ask a couple of questions. Is there anybody here having problems with the ego? Yes. Ellis, you're having problems. Your ego attacking you?
Yes.
Right. Anybody else's ego attacking them? Yes. Alright. Okay. Anybody else feel that the ego's attacking them? Anybody having a stream of thoughts they can't control? Just this run of thoughts all the time, all the time. Now I put a thing up on Facebook the last day, right? I don't know how many of you have seen it. And I said, what did I say? The choices you make create the thoughts that you think. And learners, yes, a few learners, scholars kind of says that, no, the thoughts that you think make the choices. Yeah? Is that what you all think? Yeah?
What they call a chicken and egg situation.
Yeah. So I said to this person, she said, could you elaborate on this? Okay. She said, can you elaborate on this? So I told her I was going to be doing this video here today, and where we're going to discuss, you know, it would be better to do it here than a few lines on Facebook. So what this really means is we are making choices, you are making choices, but you're not aware of these choices. Okay? So it's like, you know, I'm sure there are many of you in here drive a car. So for you to drive the car, you had to learn the rules of the road. So you can imagine if someone who basically doesn't learn the rules of the road, what's going to happen? They're going to crash the car, they're going to kill somebody, they're going to kill themselves, they're going to hurt somebody, or something like that. So it's a law that you must learn the rules of the road to basically take a car. So, like you heard me saying before, our bodies are just a vehicle. They're just something that we have here that we're using the same as a car to experience ourselves in a physical reality. Okay, would you agree with that? Okay. Now, what I want to say to you is this: for those people who believe that the ego's attacking you, it's not true. Okay? The ego can't make an independent thought on its own. Just because you decide to do something, people think, okay, the ego's attacking me because it knows I'm going here. The ego's stopping me from going here and going there and going everywhere else. We all have experienced this, yeah. Okay. Now, the ego, there's no ego in the dream. Okay? There's no ego in the dream. Jesus was very clever. Okay, because I've heard me saying before about A Course in Miracles. We have one set of beliefs, and those set of beliefs is basically that we're sinful, guilty, and we're fearful, and that God's a judgmental God. And at that level, that's level one, and at that level, also religion and many other belief systems have the devil. Alright, so the devil made me do it. The devil's outside, so everybody projects onto the devil because the devil made him do it, the devil made me do it. So Jesus very cleverly then, what he does, he replaces all of those beliefs with a new set of beliefs. Okay, those sets of beliefs is I am innocent, I am one, I am love, I am guiltless, I am fearless. And he says the ego, right, is inside. So automatically what everybody do then, right, they swap the devil for the ego, and all they're doing, right, is putting the devil or the ego inside their minds. Isn't that right? Now they have this battle with the ego inside their minds. So that was very clever of Jesus to do that, because what he did get us to do, he got us to turn inside, because what he was really saying was the problem is inside. The problem is not outside you. So as we know then, as we go on to level 3, right, we're moving beyond all beliefs. Okay? So one set of beliefs are just the correction for the other set of beliefs. So I'm going to show, would you like to see the ego? Would you like to see the Holy Spirit? Yes. Do you think is that possible? Yeah? Have you ever seen the ego before? Anybody? No?
Not just all the time.
All the time. Can you tell me?
That's what I operate out of 99%.
The time, yeah. Well, I'm going to show it to you now, and you're not going to believe what you're going to see. And I'm also going to show you the Holy Spirit. Here it is. This is the ego. This is the Holy Spirit. They're both two thought systems. Okay? And they both adhere to the same set of rules. And the set of rules that they adhere to is, can anybody tell me? Cause and effect. That's simply it. This is the entire ego thought system here, and it could go on, and it's limitless in its thoughts. Okay? But it is a thought system of separateness. Here is the Holy Spirit's thought system. Okay? And it is a thought system of unity, oneness, love. It's a thought system of sinlessness, guiltlessness, and there's no fear. And everything, all the effects of that, okay, are coming from that basis. That is the Holy Spirit. This is the ego. I am special, I am unique, I am individual, I am sinful, guilty, and fearful. Okay? And all the effects come from that. So here is going back to what I said. The choices you make create the thoughts that you think. Here is you, the decision maker. Okay? You don't think. Okay? You have no thoughts of your own because there is no thoughts in heaven in a state of oneness. There's nothing to think about. Everything is perfect oneness. Yeah? So what happens is, you've been unaware of this up until this point, but unconsciously, okay, you're choosing either one or two systems. And unfortunately, what we've always done, and what we've all been conditioned with and grown up with, we've all been in this ego thought system. And what Jesus is saying now, there's another thought system, the Holy Spirit's thought system. And if you read, as you have read in the Course of Miracles, the moment the ego came into the dream, which was the ego, the thought of separation, Jesus or God put in the correction for that, which was another thought system. So this thought system basically starts here and takes you all the way to hell. And I know a few of you have been there a few times. Okay? I know I've been there for a good one. And this thought system starts at hell, okay, and takes you all the way to heaven. Okay? Just think of it as a lift. Alright? There's two lifts. One takes you down, one takes you up. So, the problem is, right, your thinking. Your choice is here. Sorry, the problem is not your thinking. The problem is your choice is here. So, as spiritual beings, and remember we're not human beings, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So in that human experience, we've always lived by our conditioning, what our parents told us, blame the parents, alright? And, you know, we've been educated, blame the government, blame the teachers, blame everybody, right? But this is the way the world has always been. So, you know, what the Course of Miracles is coming in and saying, now there's another way. And this is the other way. There's a better way. And this is the better way. So, there's rules for living. And this is what the theme today of the workshop really basically is, right? It's rules for living.
More rules.
Huh?
More bloody rules.
Well, these rules are just basically the rules for living. So you don't have to accept them if you don't want to.
I can like that, remember that.
So, you're free to choose. Okay? But, can anybody finish that for me?
Yeah.
You're not free from the consequences of your choice. Okay? So when you choose the ego thought system, alright, that's the choice you make, then you're not free from the consequences of that, and that's what all the attack and all the thoughts that comes in that seems to be attacking you. And one of the first law, and there's 13 laws, and we're going to go through them now. Now these laws, I put them up on the website, alright, and they're called Rules for Living. So they're the second last page on the website. I just put them up on Friday night. So the first law, right? Okay, is the law of cause and effect. And what this law states is that what makes a cause is that it has an effect. If it has no effects, there's no cause. Okay? All spiritual laws, the next 12 spiritual laws, are all built upon this first law. Because what this is really saying is, right, the choices you make create the thoughts that you think. So when you make a choice, all right, you're free to choose, but you're not free from the consequences of these choices. And this is why people feel they're being attacked. This is why people feel that they can do nothing about this, because the ego thought system is a total trap. Once you're in it, you're basically, it's very tough to get out of that. Okay, and you might hear this line in the course many, many times where he says, brother, choose again. So what he's really saying is get back to that decision part of your mind and choose again. Okay? So in life and in every instance, you are free, but you're not free from the consequences of your choice. So all the next 12 laws are built on this. Okay? And as we go through these laws, I want you to take a deep reflection into your own life and your own choices, and especially your seeing. Okay? Because that's where you make most of your choices. And there's nothing so blinding as perception of form. Yeah? So what we want to do, the second law, right, is okay? So this law, I've properly understood that everything is connected to everything, and everyone is a part of everyone else. When you cause distress to another, you cause distress to yourself. This is the law of spirit. There is no one and nothing external to you that is not a part of you. You give meaning to everything and everyone that you see. You're free to believe that you're separate. And you're free to believe that you're separate from each other. Okay? But you're not free from the consequences of that choice. All beliefs in separateness invite guilt and fear into your life. Belief in the law of one will bring the effects of peace and joy into your life. So what this means really, okay, is here is oneness. Here is separateness. Okay? So, when you seek for anything, this is the law of one, when you seek for anything outside yourself, you're choosing this. So this could be, you could be seeking to meet someone. Why would you be seeking to meet someone for a loving relationship? You could be seeking for love outside yourself. You could be seeking for happiness outside yourself. So these are the choices that you're making in your mind. They might be subtle, you might be aware of them, you might not be aware of them. Okay? But if you're having the effects of this, then you're making this choice unconsciously. And what Jesus says, of course, seek for nothing outside of yourself. Because when you do, you're inviting the ego for a dance. And no one wants to dance with the ego. Because once you're in this thought system, you're going to suffer the effects of this, and you're not going to know where the problem is. So, you know, you could be feeling shame, anxiety, depression, pain. And you'll look to see, who did it say this to? Who did it do this to? You know. And you're often out in a wild goose chase, kind of looking, you know, tracing back your steps to see, what have I done? Okay? So in these laws, it's very, very important that you basically get true to your own mind, okay, that you're one with everybody. And it's not about just reading these laws, it's about demonstrating these laws. So when you get angry with anybody, you're demonstrating that that person's separate from you. Okay? Does this make sense? Yeah. So go to the next one. Okay, this is a very important law. It's the law of authority. What this law states is you are not your own author. Unless you become little children really means that unless the quest to dominate each other is relinquished, you are breaking the law of one. We're all here, we're all equal. And that means really that whatever anybody else wants to believe in, you must allow and accept that person to believe in whatever they choose. Because you're playing God when you say, right, you're wrong in your beliefs, you're wrong in your choices. We all have free will, okay? And we all have the right to choose our sex, We have all the right to choose our gender. We have all the right to choose how we're going to live our life, demonstrate our life. We have all the right to choose what we want to believe in. And what Jesus says, be all things to all men. And that means let no one else's beliefs separate them from you. So you can be sitting in a room full of Buddhists. You know, you could have a Buddhist, you could have someone from Jews, you could have Christians, you could have Protestants, Catholics, the whole lot. Okay? But it shouldn't make any difference to you. So be all things to all men, is let no one separate you, because when you don't, when you start to say, right, you're wrong, that's wrong, this is wrong, what you're really doing is now you have a problem with authority. You're usurping God off the throne, and you're saying, I'm God. I'm going to play God. So this is really the problem behind the authority problem, is we're all trying to play God. We do this in relationships. Okay? Two people together. You're going to have always the dynamic of one person playing God and the other person playing the Son. So the person who's playing God will always try to dominate the person who's playing Son. And this has happened since the beginning of time. Man has been trying to dominate woman. So you could say the male of the species has been trying to play God over the female of the species. Okay, you've had that problem, Mary, haven't you?
Yes, actually, I was just discussing it with a friend of mine last night, and he was just saying, yeah, everyone who gets into relationships, at least one of them is trying to be the best thing. I thought you might be, you're so right. Change.
Yeah. See, that's where this whole thing comes in. Like, you know, there's one person that's always trying to change the other person. Well, that person is just really saying, I'm God, and I want you to be this way, and you have to do this. Now, the problem with this, and especially, you know, what I had a friend, and basically they came to see me, and they were in a relationship, and basically they had given all their power away to their husband. And they felt dominated. And the problem with this was, I said, why did you do that? What were you looking for? Anybody tell me what she was looking for? You would only give your power away if you're seeking for something in return. She wanted to be loved. She had a fear of being alone. She was seeking something from him. And this is why she allowed herself to be dominated. You shouldn't allow yourself to be dominated by anybody. And you won't do that if you're seeking for something from that person. And that person, what happens is this, and this is really the downfall of most relationships, is that person will start taking that power of the other person, and it leaves this other person disempowered and weak and vulnerable. And I know myself that men like strong women, okay? Women like strong men. No one likes someone who's really weak. So the man will dominate, say, the woman, take all the power away, and then he'll just walk away and find someone else. Because she's too weak, she's too vulnerable. She's really disempowered her whole being. And that's the problem with most relationships. You know, and the woman in the relationship will allow that to happen because she could have the fear of being alone. She wants to be loved, so she's willing to sacrifice her power to someone else. So these are the dynamics that goes on in relationships. And that dynamic basically causes a lot of problems.
What's the person who is dominating looking for?
Power.
Just power.
God.
Power person.
Because they have the God complex. We all have this God complex because God extended himself into us. So therefore, we have this God essence inside us. And we also have the Son essence that's inside us. So that's what we're here to sort out. So you look at religions around the world, for example, each one of them says they're right and everybody else is wrong. I was brought up a Catholic, so I was one of the lucky ones who happened to be right. You know, and I always wondered, how could I be so lucky? And I was one of the ones, everybody else was wrong and I was right. You know, thank God I did walk away when I was 12. You know. So the law of authority basically is everybody is equal to you. And remember, this is in thought also. You know, it's very important. What we're talking about here is content. In your mind, what you think, because it's your thoughts that control everything. Yeah?
How does this work out, Michael, in terms of advising other people, you know, whatever? You know, are you saying that you should just let everybody else live their own
Yes.
life experience?
Yes.
And leave it there?
Yes. Big time. Big time. And would you gently step back and you just hold no judgment on anybody else? Because it really doesn't. I was working with another person in America, and you know, they really had a problem with a few people, and it didn't bother the few people, but it was putting them into hell. You know. So, you know, it really doesn't make any difference if you make a stand and say this, it's you that condemns yourself to hell, because what happens is you are taking yourself into their thought system. And if they're in that thought system, you're in now joining with them, and you're going to be attack, and you're going to be defending, they're going to be attacking and defending. You know, and that's the problem. It's not about the other people, it's just about your willingness to accept other people just as they are. Yeah?
So even if you see another person who is big, would you consider it to be a terrible mistake?
Yes.
You leave it at that.
Have you made a terrible mistake?
We got that.
Yeah?
Nice.
Yeah? Yes? You see, the way this is, we try to get in to fix other people from not making terrible mistakes. What we're really doing is we're really denying that person the opportunity to have their own learning. You know? What I say is, can you allow someone else to make a mistake? You know? Bradley, what you do, and I do this a lot in psychotherapy, I present two choices to people. I never tell anybody what to do. I say, right, this is the choice and this is the choice. You choose here, this is the consequences. You choose here, this is the consequences. And that's really up to yourself now. Because what this really is about, these laws are about empowerment. And if you're going to make choices for other people, you're disempowering them. Like Jesus says there in chapter 2, I won't take your fear away because you chose it. And if I was to disempower your mind, if I was to take it away, I would say, you have the power to do this. Do you know? So it's really, you know, it looks like good intentions that you're going to now and you're going to make choices for other people. Don't do it. There's one law of spirit, free will. Never, ever force anybody else to make a choice. Ever. It's an unbreakable law. You should never do it. Of course, you can offer guidance. And if they accept the guidance, well, good. And if they don't, they're going to learn the same way we all learned. And the way we learned was making lots of mistakes. Do you know? Unfortunately, that's how everybody's coming to the course is we've all made mistakes. You know, and we want the better way. So the best way to do this is basically they're going to make the wrong mistake before they make the right mistake. Very few people just go and make the right mistake straight away.
So I never give anyone an ultimatum.
Oh, sure. Who are you giving the ultimatum to then?
No.
Yourself here. You're just putting yourself in here.
So,
You break that law, this is where you go. By your own choice, by your own hand.
so for instance, on a practical level, if you're in a relationship, somebody is treating you like crap,
Yeah.
you don't say, if you don't stop this, I'm going, you just go.
Well, why would you put up with it?
No, exactly, but what I'm saying is, you don't say, look, I give you a week to get your act together or I'm not here. You just go.
Right.
You assume then have the intelligence to realise why.
Well,
Well, you're not there anyway,
Well-
you're gone. Or else you
but
charge.
I wouldn't recommend doing that, Mary.
What?
Because you're just flipping the coin over and now you're doing something the other side. Or what you're trying to do is take the bull by the horns now. Of course, if you're in a relationship with someone, right?
Yeah.
And you're not happy with something, you present the person with two choices. You say, A, right, this is what happened, I'm not happy about it, okay? And B, if you don't stop, then I'm going to walk out the door. And now, you allow the other person to make up their mind. You give them the
You
opportunity.
just said never force anyone to
But
make
you're not
choices.
forcing. You're giving the person the opportunity to make their own choice, and you'll make your choice based on their choice. That's not force. How's that force?
So how would you force somebody to make a choice then?
Well, you could turn around and threaten the person, or you could turn around and blackmail the person. You could do many things, like, you know.
Alright, so you just present it to them reasonably.
You'd be honest with them, you know. I mean, if you just to walk out the door, really, the other person's not going to now be aware of why you walked out the door, and they're going to think, okay. All right, let's get going. So that's the law of authority, right? And really what we're here is there's no one that's going to walk in the gates of heaven who is not with 100% equal with everybody else. This is what Jesus says, no one is healed alone, and no one goes home to heaven alone. We all go home together, or we don't go home at all. Simple as that. So this is not about getting 100 million people to believe what you believe. This is getting you to just the one person to because there's no one outside of yourself. Yeah? Any questions on that?
Why do you not call that the law of equality rather than the law of authority?
Because the law of authority is the law of equality. When there's no equality, there's an authority problem. Okay? The authority problem shatters equality. So you look around the world and all the nations and superpowers with all their weapons, and you look at religion, look at the Middle East, look at Afghanistan, everywhere, it's always been the same. The root of all evil, Jesus says, is the authority problem. And the problem with that is they're using God as the religion as it. Now the fourth one. And this is a biggie. The law of responsibility. Okay? This law states that there's no one and nothing outside of you that can cause you any pain that's not already inside. Because I've heard this before. Okay? All pain, suffering, and conflict is already within you. And what this law is really stating at this, right? If you do not take responsibility for everything, all your emotional feelings, all your emotional blocks, then you automatically become the victim. Because what you're saying is, you have hurt me. You have done this to me. And only the victim shouts and screams that. Okay? So, the law of responsibility states that it is you are the only one responsible for everything and everyone in your life, both good and bad. If there's something wrong in my life, there must be something wrong in me. This is taking responsibility. And by taking responsibility for it, you now have the power to heal it and do something with it. If you do not take responsibility, you now become powerless. Okay? So what this is really saying is, one of the things that we carry with us all the time is the past. Okay? We're the only species in the world that makes one mistake in our lives and will carry it with it for the rest of our lives, and will batter ourselves with that one mistake. Okay? So what this is saying, right, if you want to let the past go, because the past is covering up the present. The present is the now. It's the most sacred time and moment in this world, in your life. And it's been covered up by the past. And if you don't take responsibility for the past, then you're always going to bring the past into the present. Because this is why. When you don't take responsibility for anything, you're choosing this thought system immediately. And once you choose this thought system, there's no now. There's no present moment. There's no bliss. There's no happiness. There's no joy. There's no peace. Okay, it's a very simple law. But this law, right, is the same as what? Forgiveness. What you're taking responsibility for is every emotion that's inside you. There's nothing outside you can cause you any pain whatsoever. And if you don't take responsibility for it, then you're really now into the ego thought system once more, and you're not going to even know why you're in there, and you're going to have all of these thoughts, all of these emotions that arise from being in with these thoughts, because it's thoughts that create emotions. Okay? And why these emotions are all there is because you have made a choice that you're not responsible. So you automatically choose the ego thought system. It's really very simple. The one that most people have trouble with. Okay? The law of judgment. And this law states in the Course in Miracles, right? God does not judge, for God does not condemn. Okay? All judgments mean rejection. And what you reject will always be a part of yourself. If this law is properly understood, everyone and everything is you. Okay? Therefore, as you judge, you separate yourself over and over again. When you judge, right? When you make a judgment, you break the law of responsibility. When you judge, you're breaking the law of equality. You have an authority problem. When you judge, you shatter oneness. The ego cannot survive without judgment. Okay? The ego can't survive it. Because judgment shatters oneness and shatters every other law around it. Okay? And here's the other thing. What you judge against, alright, is always yourself. So you can look in a mirror and make a judgment of yourself. Okay? You can judge that you're beautiful. You can judge that you're ugly. You can judge that you're too fat, you're too thin. What you're really doing is now you're shattering the oneness of yourself. And then you're going to have all of these thoughts coming in, all of these attacks coming in. You can judge yourself as lonely. You can judge yourself as arrogant, as weak. Doesn't matter. All of these are self-judgment. You judge other people, you're still judging yourself. This is the toughest one of all of these here. If you can crack this one, all the rest will fall into play immediately. Because this shatters nearly every law there is out there. And it's not about becoming non-judgmental as we've discussed. Alright? It's about being without judgment. Any questions in there? So how do we get to be without judgment? I was hoping someone would. Anybody? How do we, like Krishnamurti had said, and Jesus says it in the Course, and every other person says it, okay? It's the highest form of human intelligence.
It's also about being not separated from others.
That's without judgment. Yeah. How you get past the judgments, you must start to become aware of them. Okay? You can't rationalize your judgments. If you rationalize your judgments, you're going to hold on to them, you're going to keep them. Okay? Just be aware of the judgments you're making, and then, as the great David Perkins says, don't judge yourself for judging. Be gentle with yourself. Okay?
Just notice there.
Just pay attention. But the key is not to judge yourself then for judging, because then you're covering up that judgment with another judgment. Okay? And it's like everything else. Like I explained to a lady last week. She works in an office, and she's constantly making judgments on all her colleagues. And she feels the effects of that. Okay? But they don't feel anything. They're going around happy as Larry and don't care about anything. And I said to her like this, I says, if you're writing an email or you're writing, on your computer and as you write, and you're making mistakes, but you don't see the mistakes that you're making, okay? Then mistakes will carry on, won't they? Yeah? So if you're writing an email, okay, and someone points out, right, okay, there's a mistake, you'll correct it. So you won't make the mistakes anymore. So the more that you're aware that you're judging, you won't judge anymore automatically, as long as you don't rationalize them. So just be aware of your judgments, and they'll all disappear. That's the last thing that the ego wants you to be aware of, is your judgments.
Recently now, I'm a huge issue with judgments. Can't stop doing it. I know we all do it, but I was rationalising every ounce of it, and I kept telling myself, no, I'm judging because A, B, and C. And kept reasoning, building up a reason.
Yes, that's the rationalization.
Yeah, building up a rationalisation, building a case for judgment. And it's just one person.
But how does it make you feel?
It made me feel terrible. It made me feel terrible, but I still felt justified in the judgments.
Yeah.
Because I felt terrible then, I kept saying, no, but it's because of,
And what's that other famous line in the Course? Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? When you justifying your judgments, it gives you a kind of a sick satisfaction that you're right, and you can prove it that you're right. And the ego just loves this. And what Jesus said, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? You know. So if you start to build up a case on your judgments, you're determined to prove that you're right. And the other thing is, the first thing you do is seek for witnesses. Oh, this other person says the same thing. Oh, this other person, you know, I have known many people think that that person's an asshole. You know, so I'm right now, I'm justified in that. So, two things: watch your rationalizations and seek not for witnesses. Okay? So be aware of your judgments, which will undo judgments. So if you're judging a lot, that means you can overcome this very quickly. And if you're not making judgments and you're not at total peace, then you're covering up your judgments. You're rationalizing in some way, in some subtle form. Okay? Because, again, judgments shatters every other law. The next law. The law of focus. Okay? And what this law is really saying is, what you focus on will expand for you. Choose carefully what you think you believe in. You cannot be servant to two masters at the same time. Well, that's what it's saying is, you can't be love and special. Okay? You can't be oneness and unique. And even though there's many tries to do that, you can't be done. Okay, so whatever you focus on is going to expand for you. Alright? When you deny love, okay, you choose fear. When you deny fear, you choose love. Okay? So what this is really saying is, right, is in your daily life, right? What's your thoughts? Where are you putting most of your focus on? What is it you want Jesus kept saying? Do you know? Do you want peace? Okay? Or do you want to see guilt? When you're in this thought system, okay, all you want to do is see guilt. Because you're trying to get rid of it, which is going to create fear. When you're in this thought system, okay, all you're going to see is love. You're going to feel peace. So whatever it is you put your focus on, and these ones at the top are the most important. Because if you see yourself as special in any shape or form, as unique or individual, okay, as you see yourself as sinful, guilty, painful, this is what you choose automatically, and everything else is going to come in, it's going to take you the whole way to hell. You choose, right, love, oneness, unity, compassion, sharing, giving, all of these. If that's where your focus is every day, then you're going to have a great life. You're going to be at peace, you're going to be full of joy, and you're going to be a blessing to be around. So, here's the crux. If you're seeing people guilty and seeing errors in people, you must correct that. Because now, you can only be in this thought system. So you need to be really honest with what is it you're seeing and what is, because Jesus says you'll always see what you desire to see. So if you're in this thought system, you're going to desire to see guilt. You're going to be making judgments. And you're going to want to be right. Because the ego only wants to be right. So it's just, it doesn't take a genius or anybody else, it doesn't take magic or anything to start your day off. Is today I'm going to focus on love. I'm going to focus on oneness. I'm going to focus on seeing everybody else the same as myself. Remember, this is a course in mind training. Okay, we need to readjust that mind level of what we're thinking, what we're believing. Okay? Anybody want to tell me how they spend their focus? What's on their day? Or do we leave it up to the ego? Sorry.
Could I just ask a question on that? Because sometimes I get a bit confused in the course. It talks about you need to look at the ego, if you like, or the mistake that you made, and you need to see it clearly. And is that focusing on it as well?
No. But Ken Watnick has said this many, many times. I don't know another teacher who says this. Look at the ego. So what you're really asking is, how do you look at the ego?
Well, I just get confused because looking to me is focusing, but
Right,
I
okay,
must
right.
be wrong.
Okay, no. When you're seeing the ego in other people, all right, you're looking with the ego. When When you're seeing your own ego in other people, you're looking at the ego. So you can put your focus in now to looking at your own ego and everyone around you. Ego never wants you to do that. Because when you do that, you're here. When you're looking with the ego, you're here. Because the ego will only see egos in other people. Won't recognize, you know, look at you,
That's
you're
what I
ego.
was doing.
Yeah. So that's where your focus was.
So the big ego.
Yeah. So looking at your ego and looking with your ego are two completely. When you're looking with your ego, you're in here. When you're looking at your ego, you're here, you're looking here.
So when you talk about focus, do you need to be in your right mind? No.
When you must, it's very simple, Cora. All you need to do is when you train your mind now to focus on, if I see the error in anybody, it's my error. That's it. If I see the ego in anybody, it's my ego. Because you can only see it if you've got it. And there will come a time then you won't see the ego in anybody.
Okay, so I get it now. So when you say focus, you're focusing on the fact that you're seeing your ego
Yes.
and not the other person.
Because there's only one ego and nobody else has got one. Because if we're all one mind, there's only one ego thought system. There's only one Holy Spirit. Okay? And there's only one Christ. So there's all one. This law applies to everything and everybody. There's only one of everything. Okay?
So when you're caught up in judgment, you're really just looking
What's your ego?
with your ego.
Yes.
Yeah.
So look at the ego. Okay? And that means you're stepping outside of this. You're going back to the decision maker and now you're looking at it from outside.
Yeah, without judgment.
Yeah.
Without judgment.
And the ego never wants you to do that. It never wants you to look at it. Because the more that you look at the ego, your own ego, in other people, it will dissolve. Because it gets all its power by you covering it up by saying it's that person's ego. You know, and we do this most of all with our judgments.
So if you're looking with the ego, if you're looking at the other people and seeing their ego, you're looking at the ego. But if you're looking at other people and you see your own ego,
You're looking
then you're looking
at
you're
the
looking
ego.
with your right mind and
Yes.
that ego is all.
Yes. So that's simple. And the way to do this is just remember that there's only one ego, and if you see it, it's mine. Yeah? So that's where you want to put your focus in. You can put your focus in too, to seeing other people's egos, seeing other people's skills, seeing other people's errors, seeing other people's sin. Whatever you put your focus in, that's where your desire is, what Jesus says, that's where your treasure is. That's where your heart is. So you're always going to, in the ego thought system, you're always going to be looking out to see the guilt and the egos of other people. Yeah? 7. The law of love. Love is the total absence of what?
Ego. Fear. Judgment.
You heard someone say Love is the total absence of judgment. This law clearly states that love must be unconditional and without judgment. Conditional love is judgmental, and therefore this is not love. Love has no demands, no expectations, no needs, or no desires. Love must embrace everyone and everything unconditionally. If you give love unconditionally, you will receive love unconditionally. This is where your freedom lies. Giving love and receiving are the exact same. Because what judgment does, judgment shatters love also. Okay? Judgment will also shatter your focus. It will blind you. Because there's nothing so blinding as perception of form. That's what judgment does. So we did this in Port Leash yesterday, and we had a little group up from Lena, I think it was, like, you know, I flew them out of the water because I asked them, remember the workshop we did with Jesus, throw up your hands, everybody loves somebody? Remember we did the workshop, and then I said, throw up your hands now, who loves someone? Not one person threw up their hands. Well, it was the same yesterday, because all their love surrounded demands, expectations, needs, and desires. It was all conditional. And when you undo judgment and you live your life without judgment, you won't have any demands, you won't have any expectations, you won't have any needs or desires. Why?
You won't need anything.
Why?
Because you'll be one, you'll be complete.
Why?
Because somebody murdered you.
Because it's judgment that makes demands. It's judgment that has expectations. It's judgment that has needs and desires. Without judgment, there can only be love. When there's judgment, there's no love. That's one or the other. So if you're in a relationship with someone, be it your lover, your mistress, your husband, your wife, your children, your parents, whatever, okay, then basically if there's judgment involved in that, okay, then it's not love. That's as simple as that.
Well, if you take away those things, Michael, desires and needs, what's left in life?
It's the attachments. Say if there's nothing wrong with having needs and desires. Demands, are one that anybody can drop, because to demand anything from anybody is to enslave them. Okay, we get caught up in expectations because we do things for people, okay, and we have an expectation that there's something done back for us, and when that expectation doesn't come back, then that's what we're talking about. Okay, now you lose the rag with the person, like, you say, I did this for you, and that's the least you could have done for me. Well, you haven't given anything because you've given it with an expectation, so you're giving it with conditions. You can't, if you're going to give something, you give it without any demands, any expectations, any needs or any desires in return. Because all you're in a bartering situation. So I'll give you this, provided I get something in return. So you haven't given anything. The only gift that you can truly give is one that can never be repaid back. And what's that?
Unconditional.
Yeah. Exactly. Because you can only give it to yourself. Yeah? See, the thing about love is if there's two people who really love each other, and there's a judgment in place, there's a separation between the two people. Love is union, it's total oneness. And anybody that has a judgment on the other person in the relationship, be it whatever it is, judgment shatters everything and it shatters love. And this is why most relationships end up in divorce courts. This is why most relationships end up being broken up. And then the pain and the heartache that comes from that through that. All because of one thing. What? Judgment. And this is the greatest tool that the ego has because judgment shattered oneness, and oneness is love. So judgment basically is the opposite of what love is. There can be no fear without judgment. Jesus says there's only two emotions, love and fear, and only one of those is real. Okay? So what we do is we make fear real by using judgment. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. The law of giving, okay? And you'll see how all these laws are built upon one another. They all incorporate each other. The law of giving, all true giving must be unconditional. If it is not, you have given nothing and you will receive nothing. What you put into life is what you receive from life. What you put into your relationships, you will also receive. If you give love, you will receive love. But it must be unconditional by both thoughts and deeds. Given in action means nothing if you do not mean it in your thoughts. All true giving means both thoughts and actions are perfectly aligned together. The act of giving will mean nothing if the thought of giving is not loving. Acts of kindness mean nothing without the thoughts of kindness behind them. Okay? So think very carefully what you give. Have you truly given anything? Because again, demands, expectations, needs and desires comes into play. So true giving is the same as love, it must be unconditional. So if you want a fulfilled life, again, what are you giving? what are you expecting in return? And you'll know if you're truly giving it when you don't get anything in return and you go off the head. All right? And we all keep a little card, a little scorecard of who gave what. And I give this, and we put a value on that, and then we look to see what we're giving back and see what the value on that is. And all of this takes place with what? Judgment. Okay. So you can see now, right, why most of all your efforts on this should go into this law. Because you can apply all the rest of them, okay? But if your judgment's going, that will basically shatter the rest of them as you're trying to apply it. Okay? So judgments takes 100% pure vigilance at all times. And again, to overcome or to be without judgment is basically just to be aware of your judgments without judging yourself. So the law of giving has to be also unconditional. It's the same as love.
Yeah, why is it a different law if it looks to me like just the exact same thing?
Well, I mean, we're all giving. You know, look at your own life. When we give things, when we do things for other people, are we doing it unconditionally or are we doing it with conditions? Because we're using that as a way of attacking ourselves. We're making a choice. These are all making choices. Okay? So if you're given something and there's an attachment onto that, okay, you're choosing this thought system. If you're loving someone, right, and there's needs and demands and the rest of them, you're here. Because this is the way the ego thought system is. This is what you're choosing. You know? You see, the whole point of this, right, is not to spend your whole life, you know, figuring out your dreams, figuring out your thoughts, working on your thoughts and all of that. There's no need to work on all those thoughts. All the emotions that you have come from these thoughts in here. So you can spend your life going to get this clearing and get that clearing and get this clearing. Why not just do the whole thing in one go up here? And that means just simply apply these laws in your life. That's all you have to do. These are just rules for living. These are spiritual rules. When you go back into spirit, all of these are your natural being. You know, you don't have to learn these in spirit. This is who you are in spirit. You know, up there you're going to know you're one. You're going to have no authority problem. You're going to have responsibility for everything. There's no judgments. Your focus is all on love all the time. Okay? You are love, and in spirit, as the Course says, giving and receiving are the exact same. So you want to be a spiritual person, live a spiritual life, well, I'm sorry, but these are the rules for doing this. It's not about going out and buying nice spiritual clothes, get nice spiritual rings, you know, all of these holy spiritual pictures and books and all of these things. Like Eckhart Tolle, I think, was said, spirituality is a state of consciousness. It's a way of living. And this is the way of living that it is to be spiritual. So you want to ask yourself, do I want to be spiritual? Then this is the rules for the road for you to be spiritual. It's that simple. You know? Doesn't this really make sense? You know? And you know most of these anyway, don't you? But these are now just put into a structure where you can say, right, if I'm having problems in my life, right, what's going on here? I know I'm taking responsibility. I think without judgment. My focus is on love. I am truly loving unconditional. You know, maybe I have an authority problem. Maybe I'm seeing someone separately. You know, you can be your own psychotherapist here because this is what psychotherapy is. You know, anybody who comes to me with a problem, and I just love psychotherapy, they tell me what the story is, and you can just see it here straight away what the problem is. You know, that's how simple this is. And like Jesus says, you are a therapist, so heal thyself, therapist, he says. You know, it's not about getting someone else to heal you or do special things with you. You know, all of these are in A Course in Miracles. So it's about just learning these, adapting these into your new way of life. When you went to school, you know, as a 3 or 4 year old child, like you had to learn 2 and 2. You had to go in every day, 2 and 2, 2 and 2, 2 and 2. So you believed then that 2 and 2 was 4. But now you know 2 and 2 is 4, don't you? So you move from believing to knowing. And when you believe all of these, you apply all of these, you'll come to know these. This is your new way of living. You know, you've heard of that line of the course, to be in the world but not of the world. So we're here in the body, okay, in the world. But this is spiritual living here, so we're not, these are the rules that's not of the world. Okay? These are the rules of the world. These are the rules not of the world. Okay? So that's what it means to be in the world but not of the world, is to apply and have this now as your new thought system. Jesus says, number 7, in the miracle principle, miracles become natural. It's when they're not happening, there's something going wrong. This is what he's talking about. When your life is not one of total peace, joy, love, and bliss, then there's something wrong. Okay? That means you're breaking all of these rules. Yeah? Okay? The law of reward. You have been given everything. Your only task is to accept everything you've already been given. So remember that from the course. Yeah? In time, you may not receive everything you think you want, but you will receive everything that you need. What more reward is there in that? What you give will be given in return when you most need it. Like the law, above law of giving, you can't but give to yourself. If you demand or expect payment now, then you have truly given nothing, and that is exactly what you will receive, nothing. All rewards are internal. They undo lack at the level that it is required. Okay? All rewards are internal. They undo lack at the level that's required. That's very important. Huh?
After all rewards.
All rewards are internal.
Yeah.
They undo lack at the level that is required. External rewards will then flow from all internal rewards. How can the shadow of truth not be rewarded when the content of truth has? What this is really saying, right, and for your own benefit, we all think we will have these needs, and we would love to have this, we would love to make it put in the bank. You know? See? All right.
So all my profits overnight.
But the one thing you have to remember here, right, is this thought system here will have needs the length of your elbow. All right, in this thought system, you're going to need this, you're going to need that, because in this thought system is total lack. Okay? And everything that you think you need here is going to cause you problems, because that's the way it's designed. So you must remember your script. If you're here and you want to waken up, then everything to waken up is going to be given to you, because that's what you've asked for. Okay, so be very, very careful what it is that you're looking for and what you're asking for and what you think you need. What this law is really saying is, right, trust in the script that you have written for yourself. There's no accident, Jesus says in the course. No accidents. Those two meet will meet. And what that's really saying is, right, everything that you need to waken up is exactly what's going to be given to you at some point in your life when you most need it. This is not really talking about your external needs. Here, the ego is need this, need this, need this. All external. All external. When you choose right here, I have no lack, I have no external needs. When you go inside, then everybody that comes into your life will be there to help you to fulfill this script. That's the choice that you have. And I'm pretty sure nearly everyone of you in this room have made the decision you want to come here to wake it up. Yeah. Okay, you've made the decision I don't want to come back here anymore. So why is it then when you turn outside and start having needs for yourself? Once you take a step outside yourself, you take a step in here. This is very, very important. You have to trust in this. You know, I have a rule that I live my life with. I might not have everything I want, but I have everything I need. And it has come to me. Everything I've needed so far has come at the right time, in the right way, and it couldn't be more perfect. And that comes from total trust.
Even if it's conflict or pain.
Exactly. It's all coming for my benefit. Because, you know, there's no pain outside of me. or no one can cause it. So if I'm in pain inside, it means I have another opportunity to heal my mind. This is why Jesus never felt a thing on the cross. There was no pain in his mind. So he had no pain in his body. So anytime that you're in pain in the body, use it wisely. Use it for you. Take it back in and take responsibility for it and say, right, this is coming from my belief in the separation. All pain comes from the belief in separation. It's that simple. No matter what the pain is, it's coming from a belief in separation, and that's what you're here to do. All your problems in your lives are coming from beliefs.
I'm not being funny, but
Ha 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 ha.
when you said that, like that's why Jesus died, nothing on the cross, and that's what I believe. But then, at what point, according to the Bible, at some point according to the Bible, he shouted out, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?
Will you get my book?
Sorry?
Well, you read my book and you'll know the truth in that one.
You what?
You buy my book and you'll know the truth in that.
Oh, I have to wait.
He didn't say that. He didn't say
Well, I'm
that.
quite sure he didn't, but that's according to that. So he never thought that God had forsaken him.
No.
No, that doesn't seem to make sense.
Okay, right. We'll batter on here, right? Next one. 10. Very, very important rule here, okay? And this is the law of acceptance. We have already discussed this a number of times. What you refuse to accept will continue for you, or what you resist will persist. All peace comes from the acceptance of what is. All fear comes from the refusal to accept what is. Be all things to all men, and not let a single belief separate you from another. The refusal to accept another's belief is the refusal to accept yourself as you. Okay? Here is what is. Okay? It's a reflection of what is. It's a reflection of heaven. It's the conditions that's laid out for heaven. It's peace, it's unity, it's love, it's oneness. All of those attributes are there. That is what is. This is the refusal to accept what is. This is your decision, right? You're going to create your own world, your own reality. You're going to do things your way. This is your choice to be an ego. This is your choice to be your own author. Okay? So what this is really saying is if you can't accept the world just the way it is now, okay? So a lot of people can't accept that. Okay? So they want to sort this out, they want to sort that out, they want to sort all these different parts out. Okay? And like Jesus is saying, seek not to change the world, but seek to change your mind about the world. So when you move to level 3 in the course, okay, you'll see then that everything's perfect just as it is. You often hear the story about, you know, someone in your lives and you just can't accept what this person said. You know, you can't accept another person's belief. You can't accept another person's position on this because it's totally wrong. We've all done this, haven't we? You know, how has that made us feel? Has it made any difference to the situation or to the other person? No. But it's made a bloody big difference to us because it's just put us into this thought system and it's taken us all the way down into hell. You know, it's like judgment. When you judge another person, it has no effect on the other person and it has a massive effect on you. So you have to ask yourself here, what is this not the same? You know, is it not easier for me to accept the other people or everybody in my life just as they are? When you try to go out and fix anybody, you're really denying your own fixing inside. You're going to say, I'm going to fix you. I know how to fix you. You're playing God. Okay? Good intentions. You heard Ken Watkins said about good intentions. The royal road to hell. Okay? The reason why he said that, it is because you're trying to play God. Everybody here has their own script. Everybody here in that script are making their own choices. Allow people to make their own choices. Again, they might be making the right choices. They might be making the wrong choices. I know plenty of people and they're making wrong choices. And I can't do anything about it, so I'm willing to accept. I accept that that person will make the right choice at a point in their lives when they have had enough pain of making the wrong choices.
Is it acceptable to advise an opinion or advice or an idea for them without saying, you know, what do you think if you did this? Do you know what I mean?
As long as you're not
As a
playing,
friend.
as long as you're not playing God.
Right, but I mean, you can make a suggestion.
Oh, of course. But I wouldn't make a suggestion unless you're asked, because it will be.
All right, yeah.
You know,
So if they ask for opinion, give it, but if they don't, sure.
Well, the way it is with me, I have a rule in this. I never intrude onto anybody. You know, I never ring anybody up and say, how are you getting on? Because that's me intruding onto, you know, their choices, their whatever. Like, you know, I wait till people contact me. You know, if someone comes for me for help, I will give them all the help that I can and all the guidance and everything. That's,
When you're asked.
yes, what I'm asked. But I don't go and say, listen, you know, you should do this or you should do that. Because then you're disempowering that person. You know, you
Yeah,
can.
you're telling them that they can't make
Exactly,
their own decisions.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, when you disempower someone else, you automatically disempower yourself. Because you just go straight back into the ego thought system now. And now you're back dancing with the ego. So whatever you do outside of yourself, you're doing to yourself. Yeah? 11. The law of creation. Okay? And we're all naturally creators. That's who we were born to be. Okay? We're co-creators with God. That's what Jesus says in the Course. So every act of love is an act of creation. To create is to love unconditionally. All acts of miscreation flow from decisions not to love. You are free to choose creation or miscreation. This is creation, this is miscreation. Okay? Because the ego thought system, if you read in the Course, was an act of miscreation. It was an act that you said that you can be separate from God and create your own world and do everything. Well, we believe that we have separated from God. We have created our own world. Have a look around. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't it a great job that we did? You know, it's you know, look at all the love and the happiness around everywhere. Like, everybody's perfectly content. So we've done a great job of it, right? So this is to be creative. When you're right-minded, you will be truly inspired. Okay? Because that's what it means. This is to be in spirit. To be spiritual is to live these laws. So, you know, you can be, you know, inspired to draw, to be an artist, to write books, to do all things that, you know, you'll know they're not coming from you, but through you. You know? That's how spiritual energy works. When you tune into all of these laws, okay, it's like a combination and a safe. When you tune all of these in perfectly, the magic will happen. Believe me, that's what happens. Okay?
A lot of artists say that even if they're not, say, consciously spiritual, that they have, those words came by themselves, or that picture came by itself.
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
If you're not participating in life, you will lead a life of unfulfillment. And again, I'll go back to this. To participate in life is here. This is death. You're not really living when you're here. You're fast asleep. You're unconscious. You have the illusion that you're living. And this is why there's so many lacks and so many people are so dreary and tired and unfulfilled and all of this. It's just all of those are the effects of being in this thought system. The effects of being in this thought system is to be fulfilled. No matter what you're inspired to do, you're going to get full fulfillment from that. Okay? So it really all comes from two decisions here. One is the decision to love, and that is to create, no matter what it is. And what that says is, what can I do for you? That's what a spiritual being will say. What can I do for you? And the ego will say is, what can you do for me? What's in it for me? That's the two thought systems here. One of them is to create. For you to create, what can I do for you? How can I be of service to you? How can I be of service to anyone around me, to my fellow people? Okay? And we're not talking about massive, big, grandiose ideas and changing the whole world. Just little simple things by a next door neighbour, or just, you know, showing love to someone, you know, without expecting anything in return. You know, acts of kindness are acts of creation, provided that you're not doing it to get something in return. Okay? Acts of miscreation is what can you do for me? It's very clear.
I find that particularly hard, because all the things we describe, you can pretend to be all of it,
Yes.
and you don't realise you're pretending to be.
Yes. Yes.
And so, in the course of miracles, they're telling you to look at how you perceive yourself.
Yes.
So much.
Yes.
Yes. You can fall into it
But
easily all the time.
this is why when you look at love, you look at the demands, the expectations, the needs, the desires. Those four elements fall into all of these nearly. You know, when you're given anything, those are the conditions you put on it. So you could say, okay, right, you know, you can get caught on it, but this is where your vigilance comes from. You know?
But it's just when you were talking about the other thing as well. You,
Acceptance?
Well, which one's the giving?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to just gather my thoughts. So when you think that you're behaving in a loving way by
Yeah.
giving,
Yeah.
but actually then you realise there's an agenda.
Yes.
So it's not really. But then if you see the agenda and then decide that you're still going to do the giving, then
Yes.
you counteract it.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Again,
it seems like such an easy thing to
Yeah.
do,
What
but
does-
actually
Yeah, what this is really talking about, Cora, and all of these, and the key to all of this is awareness. You know, all of these are coming in a structure of really 12 laws built on the first law of cause and effect. Okay? But like I say, they're all on the website. Okay? And what you're asked to do here is just right. Take each of these, and like, you know the law of responsibility. You know, I have the meditation sheet done right, and for a week, okay, you do your meditations with responsibility. Do you know what I mean? You're doing the meditation now. You're training your mind now to take responsibility for everything. I think there's another one on, there's a lot of focus. Where now for a week, you're going to, where are you putting your focus? You're going to be vigilant now. You're raising awareness. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're giving and you're not aware of what you're saying, what's underneath, you know, all of that, then you're going to continue doing that, aren't you? You know, it's, awareness is the key to this, so we need to bring it out. We need to, this is what we're doing here today. You know, we're discussing this, we're bringing it to awareness. And the four elements on this is our demands, expectations, needs, and desires that are underneath all of these. You know? So that's where you really need to look. Just look once again at what you're truly given. Are you given this without condition? But don't judge yourself if you are. You're going to be aware of this at the beginning because naturally this is something we've all done that's a part of our condition. You know? So you know, just look at this now when you give something. See where the ego comes in and say, right, well, you know, what are you going to get in return? You know, just be aware of that and don't judge yourself for it.
But it could be that the return is that you feel good about yourself, but that's an ego.
No, it's not really. Don't rationalize it. If you're feeling good, okay, it's a part of your true nature. You can rationalize it and say it's the ego or it's because you give this or whatever that. You know what we did? We're going to be doing it after the break. You know, about all our emotions. You know, it's like, you know, you say you meet someone, right? And all of a sudden, you know, in a new relationship, you have this bliss and you're in love and all of this. Well, that's inside you already. We rationalize that and say, oh, this person has made me feel like this. That's the problem then, because now you're saying, this person has made me feel like this. When this person goes, because you rationalize it, they take the good and the bliss with them. The bliss is always inside you. So all you have to do is when you meet someone, right, and you're feeling that bliss inside you, say, this is who I am. And thank you for whatever it is, for showing me a part of myself. Now when that person goes, they don't take the bliss with them. You still have it. See? Because no one, you know, both all the pain, all the guilt, all the fear, all the hurts inside us, yeah? That's a part of our separated self. But all the love, all the peace, all the joy, all the bliss is also inside us. So you have people outside you who can physically make you feel like hell or make you feel like heaven. So accept it as a part of yourself. Take responsibility for it. Don't put it down to them. No matter how good looking they are, or how sexy they are, or how wonderful you think they are, that person is really only showing you a part of yourself. You know, the special love is saying that you're making me feel like this. The holy love is saying, I am this, and thank you, brother, for showing me a part of this. But we'll talk about that after the break. Yeah, but I know what you're saying in these things. You know, it calls for vigilance and awareness. Yeah? So, how do we fix the time? 2 to go, and then we'll put the top down there. 12. The law of karma. Okay? You all know this one? No one can punish you but yourself. As you sow, so shall you reap. All beliefs, thoughts, and deeds are connected. All are aligned as one. What you think, you will believe, and what you believe in is how you will act. Think carefully what you think, because it is here that you can punish yourself. The law of karma is not in what you do, but in what you think. Okay? And this is so, so important. You know, because we cover up this kind of ego self that's inside us, and we try to be, you often heard of two-faced people. Alright, well you're really talking about yourself. Okay, because what we're doing is you have these people who want to put on this great show and put it on for everybody can see them. Okay, but underneath that, they're really, you know, they're not that very nice thinking, you know, what's going on. So you could be sitting in the room and you could be saying all wonderful things about people, and you could be thinking that they're the biggest load of assholes you ever made in your life. You know, well you have just, what you have done, this is the law of karma. Okay? Here. Anytime that you choose to hurt another, you choose to hurt yourself, and this is where you come in. And this is how you punish yourself. Okay, because you're seeing the other person is separate from you, which brings you in here. Okay? And what you do unto another shall be done unto you, because there's only one, and you can only punish yourself. So if you cause harm, particular harm, like the way Jesus says, those who live by the sword will die by the sword. Because when I cut the head of you with a sword, I'm cutting the head of myself by a sword. Okay? So what we would end this, right, we all seeking for justice. If you read the Course in Miracles, you look at God's justice. Yeah? They're both the complete opposite. So karma really is all about yourself. There's no one up there punishing you. There's no one up there deciding that you're good. There's no one up there deciding that you're bad. There's no one up there saying, right, you have to come back for another 100 lifetimes. Or anything like that. The law of karma really states, basically, right, that you can only punish yourself. And don't be fooled by acts and deeds. This is really about your thinking. So what you think about yourself, think yourself as, say, ugly or, you know, not worthy or all of these things, you're going to feel the effects of that, because you're putting yourself into the ego thought system. And now you're going to feel like a victim because you feel like somebody else is punishing you. But you have chosen that by your own decision. And now you have all of these thoughts around you that are coming from that decision. Yeah? Any questions on that?
What do you put the, you know, the likes of some mass murderer, say Hitler, how do you put them into this context?
Right. How would you feel? How do you think?
I don't know. I mean, are they evil?
I do. You see, what happens in this, right, if you look at what's happened with Israel and Palestine at the moment, right, there's those two people, those two countries at war. That is only a reflection of our own war with ourselves. It's projected out, and it can be seen quite vicious and everything out there, but it's a part of you. It's you've been at war with yourself. Every time that you have thoughts of guilt, thoughts of fear, you're attacking yourself. If you read the Course on the war with yourself. You know, and what we do is we project out. Hitler is just a murderous thought being projected out. We have these murderous thoughts because we've been trying to kill God's Son from the moment the whole dream started. Every time that you have a thought of guilt or fear, you're basically trying to kill what God created perfect. You're saying it's not perfect. I'm going to destroy it. So everything that you see in the world is a part of you. It's a part of your own thought system. It's not separate from you. So there is no really Hitler outside if we're looking from the law of one. Okay, and you go into the law of acceptance and the law of responsibility. You go into all these laws. You go into the law without judgment. You know? And now you know, if you looked at Hitler now without judgment, tell me what you say. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's the beauty about people without judgment. Because there's nothing outside you. You know, people say, oh, that's a denial. That man killed 100 million people. You know, and any of you have listened to Ken Watney says there's no difference between killing one person and killing 100 million people. You know? And that sounds absurd in this world. Because the ego says there's a hierarchy of illusions. First principle of miracles, it says there's no order of differently, they're all the same. You know? So everything outside of you is but just a thought. It's manifested into form. You know? So if you can look at the world without judgment, you have seen a world now, basically, that has been totally forgiven. Because there is no world outside you. Judgment says there is, and judgment says that this is worse, and that person's worse, and this person, you know, and it'll list off Hitler and Pol Pot and Saddam Hussein and all that, you know, and the ego saying, look, there is, you know, look at the evil that all these people did. There is no evil. They're all just thoughts, coming from a thought system of the ego. That's what. And the final one, the law of time. Okay? And this law states, right, I've correctly interpreted that time exists only now. Okay? The past and the future are designed to keep the here and now from your awareness. You judge the past by holding on to it. And all judgment means rejection. So, and what you reject in the past will manifest in the future. Now your future will be the same as your past. Again, what you reject or refuse to accept, you keep. So let me show you this, okay? Say this is heaven, okay? Say this is us down in the world, okay? So the now looks like this. It's a stream of time in the center. And here we have the past, and here we have the future. Okay? What we do is, right, we are basically judging the past all the time. We're judging our mistakes. We're judging what other people have done with us. We're judging what we have done with other people. So when you judge, you reject. So what happens is, because we judge the past, we project it into the future, and now the future will always be the same as the past, but in different form. So what this is really like, as I know a person who said to me, you know, that they kept meeting the same assholes in relationships. You know, how can you keep meeting the same person over and over again, like, you know? Because, why? They were judging them as assholes. So that meant they were rejecting them, and what you resist, and then it manifested right in the future. So this works with everything. So how do you let the past go?
Love the assholes.
Yeah. It was you were telling me. So how do we let the past go? How do we get into the now? There's only one way into the now. I said this earlier on now, about 40 minutes ago.
They would have just results.
That was 40 minutes ago.
Come on.
This is now.
One word.
We are.
No.
Without opposition and opposed. Acceptance.
Forgiveness, no?
That's one of the laws.
Responsibility.
Yes. The only way you're going to let the past, and it is a form of forgiveness. Amen. You know. Basically, you look back at the past now, you take full responsibility for it. Once you take full responsibility for everything, you're doing complete forgiveness. Okay? You're letting the past go. If you don't, it means you're judging it and you're keeping it. And you're dragging it with you like a ball and chain. And this is keeping you out of the now. Okay? So the only way that you're going to go into this, right, this is the stream of bliss here. Okay? And this here is open to anyone who can let their past go. Because Jesus very clearly, of course, says there is no past. And if there's no past, there's no future. The only time there is now. Okay? So in the meditations, we'll talk about them after the break. It's very important now that you look at the past and every little error, mistake that you think that you have taken or made, or someone else has done, or someone else has made, you take full responsibility for it, and then you're starting to get the past go. There's nothing in the past that you cannot take responsibility for. Because that is acceptance. Okay? It's responsibility. You're undoing judgment. Okay? That is love. That is giving. Because you're giving to yourself. You'll receive the reward of the now, which is the bliss. Okay? And it's acceptance that I am responsible for this as an act of creation. Because they're all taking you in to this thought system here, the Holy Spirit's thought system. So just to recap, there is no ego. This is a system of cause and effect of separateness.
Can I ask a question? Are you taking responsibility for how you felt and the thoughts you had, or are you taking responsibility for what happened?
Everything.
Both.
You can cover everything with this. Because the actions or the choices you made were the thoughts that you thought. Okay? Okay? All thoughts are created from the choices that we make.
So if someone ran into you in a car, you take responsibility that it happened and how you felt about it.
Well, basically what you're doing, you're taking responsibility for all your emotions, for your reaction. It's not really about who ran into who or whatever, it's about how you felt about it. You know, or how you felt about the other person in this. You know, so if somebody rear-ended you, like, you know, you might have thought them an asshole, or, you know, all of these kind of things, you might have been angry with them, and, you know, you might have felt guilty about that later on or something. What you're taking responsibility for here is your emotions. How you feel about the world, how you feel about God, how you feel about yourself, about your ex-lover, about your parents, about your children, about your friends, about your teachers. Because we use all of those as an excuse to justify our guilt. By not taking responsibility, you're making a choice that you're a victim. And now, as a victim, you're going to project. Okay? So you want to avoid all of that. You don't need to go through all of those procedures because they're all cause and effect in this thought system. Okay? And you can spend your whole life dealing with the effects of this. And what Jesus is saying, you don't have to do that. Just get to the cause, the choice that you made. Create all thoughts that you think.
Israel, people can be seen to cry for love.
Yes, exactly. Our own cry for it. But like I say again, you know, even that would be level 2, the call for love. That's what the Holy Spirit is like, you know. But if you take it to level 3, without judgment, there's no hinder. There's nothing to forgive. Does that make more sense? You know? Because if you think about this, how does God feel about Hitler?
God doesn't know anything about Hitler, as God doesn't know anything about what's going on down
Who told you that?
there. You did!
God looks at everybody here the exact same way, without judgment. That's why, okay, and I'm going to tell you this now, right? That's why God doesn't know you're here. What it really means is God does not see all your errors, all your mistakes, all your guilt, all your thoughts of fear. He looks at you without judgment. He knows exactly where you are.
God takes we're all in heaven with him, flying around with the just playing our harps, singing hymns.
That's good enough then. All right, we'll stop there, right?
Okay,
Well,
stop there.